I'm Brad Galley.
All right, thank you so much, Brad. Of course, we are staying on top of the breaking news coming to us from Washington, D.C. and the deadly collision near Reagan National Airport.
Multiple fatalities have been reported, and so far, there's been no word yet on survivors. We have all the information you need to know as you wake up.
And of course, we're live at Detroit Metro Airport, keeping an eye on cancellations in and out of Washington, D.C. You're watching 7 News Detroit this morning.
7 News Detroit this morning starts right now with a breaking news alert.
And we're back now with new perspective of that breaking news. The rescue and recovery efforts underway on the Potomac River just outside Washington, D.C. These are live pictures, possibly a bit closer to the scene where an American Airlines flight collided with a military helicopter. Both aircraft are now in the water.
Now, so far, officials aren't saying if there were any survivors, but rescue crews worked through the night and are continuing right now to try to find any signs of life.
Now, I want to show you the path of that American Airlines flight. It took off from Wichita, Kansas at 5:52 p.m. and it was on final approach here at Washington Reagan National Airport. You can see it was making a southern approach here. Now, this was at it was set to land at 8:57, but it ultimately crashed with that helicopter. The first report of a crash coming in at 8:53. The helicopter was based at Fort Belvoir in Virginia.
So here's everything we know at this hour. The collision was first reported just before 9 p.m. There were 60 passengers on the American Airlines plane, along with 4 crew members and 3 soldiers on the helicopter. The helicopter was on a training mission. Multiple deaths are being reported, although there is no definitive number as of yet. Dive teams are scouring the site, and helicopters from law enforcement agencies across the region are flying over the scene. There will be another live update from officials at 7:30 this morning.
And of course, we'll be keeping an eye on that for you. President Trump released a statement overnight about the crash, writing, quote, "May God bless their souls. Thank you for the incredible work being done by our first responders. I am monitoring the situation and will provide more details as they arrive."
And Vice President J.D. Vance wrote on X, "Please say a prayer for everyone involved in this midair collision near Reagan Airport. We're monitoring the situation, but for now, let's just hope for the best."
The governor of Virginia also taking to X, writing, quote, "First responders from across Northern Virginia, D.C., and Maryland mobilized quickly. I ask everyone to pray for the passengers, crews, and their families, and brave first responders."
And the governor from Kansas, where the plane flew, posted on X, "My thoughts go out to those involved. I will share more information as it becomes available."
Well, Reagan National Airport will be closed until at least 11 o'clock this morning, and it is clear this is going to have a domino effect on air traffic across the nation. We've already counted about a dozen flight cancellations just here at Metro Airport.
And that's where we have 7 News Detroit reporter Brittany Tulish. She is live at DTW this morning. So, Brittany, what are you seeing there?
Yeah, Kiera, Keenan, that dozen flights that are canceled are not really reflected on the board here. FlightAware is showing 12 flights canceled, 8 flights delayed. But if we look at the board right now, it is saying everything is on time. Like I said, FlightAware showing that there are 12 cancellations. 9 of those cancellations, both in and out of DTW, are going in and out of DC's airport, Reagan National. But you can see that arrival right there saying we have an arrival from Reagan National that's coming here at 9:20 a.m. that is on time. So that's what I mean, that these boards and FlightAware's information are not lining up right now. Now, if we look at the airport, you can see it's pretty calm. There is not a lot happening. We did talk to one flyer, Chris Kelly, who is on his way to board a Southwest flight. He says that horrific collision is on his mind.
I'm heading to Florida, actually meeting a few of my brothers for a little golf trip. A little nervous because it's so unusual for that type of collision to happen, especially in the DC area.
And per FlightAware, the first flight out of DTW that will land at Reagan National is a Delta flight. That flight is expected to take off here at 10:19 a.m. and that touchdown in DC is expected to be at noon. Now, we'll be here monitoring these flight statuses all morning and trying to figure out why there is a discrepancy between FlightAware and the board that is showing here at DTW. But for now, live at DTW, I'm Brittany Tulish for 7 News Detroit this morning.
Thank you, Brady. We know you'll stay on top of that situation.
Well, this crash marks the first major commercial crash in the U.S. since 2009. That crash took place back on February 12th when a Colgan Air Flight 3407 crashed near landing at Buffalo Niagara International Airport. All 49 people on board that flight were killed. The FAA proposed or implemented a number of rule changes following that deadly incident. There have been other crashes in the U.S., such as an Asiana runway crash in San Francisco International Airport in 2013. 3 people died when Flight 214 came in too low and too slow, crashing into a seawall and shearing off the tail section and left engine as that plane spun down the runway. The last death on a flight here in the U.S. came in 2018 when a woman was partially sucked out of a Southwest Airlines flight window when that engine on that plane failed and the flight had to make an emergency landing in Philadelphia. Still, experts say that statistically flying is significantly safer than getting behind the wheel of a car. Well, we invite you to stay with 7 News Detroit, both on air and online, as we follow the very latest of that passenger jet collision near Reagan National Airport in Virginia and D.C.